Hi, in this video, I'll be going over Export Control Policy, ITAR, also known as International Traffics in Arms and Regulations. ITAR is a set of United States government regulations that control the export and import of defense-related articles and services. Companies dealing with ITAR-regulated items must comply with the strict licensing requirements and implement robust access control measures. ITAR applies to foreign activities involving U.S. defense items as well. In this video, I have prepared 5 policies and the following use cases to demonstrate how to implement ITAR with CloudAz. In the first use case, I have a citizen from a prohibited country trying to access the ITAR files. In my second use case, I have a citizen from a non-prohibited country trying to access the ITAR files. In my third use case, I have an American citizen with a U.S. parent employer trying to access ITAR files. In my fourth example, I have a foreign citizen with a foreign employer with a valid license and no NDA. In my fifth example, I have a foreign citizen with a foreign employer with an NDA but no valid license. In my sixth example, I have a foreign citizen with a foreign employer with both NDA and a valid license. And lastly, I have an American citizen with a non-U.S. parent employer but a signed NDA. My first policy is deny citizen from the prohibited countries according to ITAR regulations. My subject component, prohibited citizenship, include Sudan, North Korea, Iran, Cuba, Syria. Citizens from these countries are subject of this policy. We can add additional countries to this prohibited citizenship list by adding additional components. For the rest of my policies, I have created a policy group with the parent policy, deny access for ITAR documents or material. Policy 2.1, 2.2, and 2.3 are all sub-policies of this parent policy. Let's take a look at the parent policy first. For this parent policy, we have no subject components, which will apply to all users in the system. Our resource component, ITAR classified data, are the file that will be influenced by this policy. And finally, we have our action component, which will be the action that the subject will be able to perform on the resource component. In summary, this policy will deny all users from running ITAR classified data. Let's take a look at my first sub-policy. My first sub-policy allows U.S. person with U.S. parent employee to access ITAR material. In this policy, we have 2 subject components, U.S. citizenship and U.S. employer. The subject must satisfy both conditions in order for this policy to be applied to them. What this sub-policy will do is to allow particular users satisfying these 2 conditions at the same time to run ITAR classified data. Let's take a look at my second sub-policy. My second sub-policy allows U.S. user and non-U.S. employer with a signed NDA to access ITAR materials. In my subject components, we have in USA citizenship and not in U.S. employer, and also in NDA signed users. This sub-policy will allow users who satisfy these 3 conditions at the same time to run ITAR classified data. Let's check out my last policy. Allow non-U.S. users with a valid license who sign NDA to access ITAR material. In my subject components, we have not in USA citizenship and in licensed user, and also in NDA signed user. The target must satisfy all these subject conditions in order for this policy to be applied to them. For better demonstration and test purposes, I have enabled a custom obligation that will return me a text message every time one of our policies applies. In my policy validator, we have already created test cases for these policies. For our first use case, we have a citizen from a prohibited country accessing the file. We'll have a user with the subject ID A-group-TE with the citizenship of Cuba and physical location of USA. Let's run this test case. The decision of this user is denied, which means this test case is passed. Our second test case, accessing as a Malaysian citizen with physical location equal to USA. This user is not from a prohibited country, but he also does not meet any of the conditions for the sub-policies. Because of a parent policy, deny access for ITAR documents or materials, This user is unable to access ITAR documentations. Our third use case, an American citizen with physical location equal to USA and a parent employer with location also equal to USA. Because EMI policies 2.1 allow US persons, US parent employee to access ITAR material, we're able to access the ITAR material in this use case. Our fourth use case, Singaporean employer with license but no NDA. Here we have citizenship equal to Singapore, physical location equal to USA, the employer equal to supplier, license equal to yes, NDA equal to no, and employer location equal to Singapore. Because this user does not have the NDA signed, he does not fit in any of our sub-policies and is denied by our parent policy. Likewise, in this use case, we have someone with a Singaporean citizenship, physical location equal to USA, employer equal to supplier, and license equal to no, but NDA equal to yes, employer location also equal to Singapore. The final result for this test case is also denied. Lastly, we have a Singaporean citizen with physical location equal to Singapore, employer equal to supplier, NDA and license equal to yes. Let's run this test case. We're able to pass this test case because this subject satisfies our 2.3 allow non-US user with a valid license who signed NDA to access ITAR material. And lastly, we have an American citizen with a French employer and a signed NDA. We're able to pass this test case because the subject satisfies the sub-policy 2.2 allow US users and non-US employer with a signed NDA. With this, we conclude our video on export control ITAR use case examples. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to our NextLabs channel, and stay tuned for more export control policy use case videos such as EAR and ECL.